Alright, let's see how this goes. This is totally just testing stuff. No idea if this is working. But we shall see. I'm kind of just listening for audio now, getting used to OBS. I have never tried streaming from this computer and this setup before. So let's see. Sorry, I'm pulling it up on my phone just to see if I can see what's going on. Can I see myself? It looks like I can. Can I see myself? Let me know if you can hear game audio, especially now that I'm going to click into the game. That should have made it get a little louder. No idea if my voice is loud enough with the game audio or if I need to tweak anything. I have never done this before. Alright, well, I'm just going to assume that that's working and start playing something, and someone can let me know in chat, I guess, if it's not working or anything, because I do have chat up on my phone. So, hi, this is Wildermyth. This game absolutely rules. It is a strategy RPG that is centered around procedurally generated characters that have a variety of different traits and abilities and stuff that are also kind of randomly generated. And you adventure with them and do a bunch of different quests. And those quests are all pre-written vignettes, but they have certain choices that articulate in different ways depending on the randomly generated aspects of your characters, if they have certain personality traits that make it more likely or less likely to behave in certain ways. And there's also a carryover through as you play multiple campaigns. You can keep the same characters through, and they will carry over with some of their abilities. So if you get really attached to certain members of your party, you can keep playing with them. And you will get attached to certain members of your party almost immediately because they're just adorable. Like, the writing is so good. I just finished a campaign. So you can see over here, if I click into my legacy, it's going to show you every character I've ever played with that was in my party when I completed a campaign. And you can see they look pretty wild at times. There's lots of different transformations that kind of persist depending on your choices. This one has a cute little bunny. This one has like this like gorgon growth on her face. So yeah, they all end up being really unique and different based on the choices that you've made, even though they're pulling from kind of the same set of procedurally generated options. Yeah. So I wanted to try playing this a little bit and talking through it. I I think I will do a new story. So, like I said, I just finished a campaign earlier today. I am kind of running out of pre-written content. I don't know how much more there might be. So you can see here, this is kind of the tutorial, the Age of Ulstrix. It sends you through 3 different chapters, and then you have kind of each of these is a different campaign. Most of these are 5 chapters long. So this is all the pre-written stuff, just these 5, and then beyond that you can do 3 or 5 chapter campaigns that don't have kind of an overarching story that connects the chapters. It's purely procedural. So the next one that we need to do, or that I haven't done yet, is Iluna and the Moth. An old book and a young argument lead 2 siblings into the wilderness. Amid the bones of a mythic civilization, they'll embark on a moonstruck journey through tragedy and time, encountering a mysterious wastrel in the woods and bearing witness to the rise of a luminous queen. A 5-chapter campaign with Thrixel as the main threat. This game has 4? Is it 4 or 5 different enemy races? Thrixel being one. The previous campaign I just did had Deepists, which were kind of mole people, underground, kind of fungoid humanoids. The Morthagi here are weird kind of bone steampunk, fantasy punk structures. This first Ulstrix story involved Gorgons, which were kind of a eldritch corruption of wild animals. Thrixel are sort of like plane shifted bugs, I guess you could say, that have psychic abilities. And then I assume this last one is, yeah, Drauven, which are kind of lizard folk. And I haven't done that one yet. So let's start Iluna and the Moth. Let's see how this goes. Combat in this game is grid-based. It's a lot like Fire Emblem, turn-based, grid-based. So if you're familiar with Fire Emblem, you'll recognize that. I always do standard difficulty. I don't want to really bust my head against the combat. I'm kind of in it for the whole experience. There's also this option of Carved in Stone, which is like the permadeath hardcore mode, and I'm not about that life. There are mods. I have not played with mods at all, so I don't even have any installed. So I'm not going to mess with that. And then even the map is procedurally generated, so if you wanted to, you could have a specific seed. I am just going to take the one that it is giving me. Okay, so here we have our randomly generated characters and our legacy characters. It looks like because of the past experience that I've had playing the game and the previous campaigns that I've completed, I'm going to get to pick up to 2 pre-existing characters from my legacy, and then I will have these other 2 that are procedurally generated that I didn't choose anything about them. You can see that first of all, this says Future Mystic. These both say Future Mystic, whereas this says Warrior and Hunter. Because these are pre-existing characters that I've used in previous campaigns, their classes are already set. Oak was a Warrior and May was a Hunter. The other class is Mystic, which is the Mage class. And it says Future because you're going to start out with these brand new, and they haven't quite leveled up yet. They haven't gotten their first sort of sea legs as far as combat goes. And you can see that they've been given kind of a two-word descriptor: snarky coward, greedy leader, compassionate hothead, aloof snark. If we click into these, it says click to inspect, so we can. The place that it's pulling this from is, let's see, is it here or no? It's in personality. So if you click this, you can see these are the, what is it, 10 or so personality traits that are randomly generated, and these determine kind of their overall personality. And what this means is that when you get into the vignettes as you adventure, the flavor that the lines of dialogue are given for these people is kind of reflected in this. You know, because the two traits are coward and snark, and those are the two highest in his personality. He'll probably make a lot of jokes when they're faced with enemies about like running away, or you know, the futility of the situation, being snarky about it, or whatever. You can change these manually. You can pretty much tinker with all of this if you want to. I have really enjoyed just kind of taking the characters as they come, and just going with it. I don't know a lot about how some of these other things are automatically generated, if they're standardized or if they depend on character class or anything like that. You can see abilities, gear, and combat are all grayed out. We will get to those later, once we're actually in the game. Relationships here, you will develop naturally over the course of the game relationships between party members, and you can either let that be randomized and automatic, or you can take a little bit more control over it as the choices are offered to you. I think it's an option in customize here. Yeah, here allow random romances, allow random rivalries, allow children. So that would affect some of those relationship things. It also writes a history. This is entirely, again, procedurally generated. It has these hooks that are randomly assigned. Literary loyal dreamer, that will affect the kinds of potential events and vignettes that apply to Callan here. And all of this is just written. Callan grew up the elder of two children, the kind of blisteringly self-aware boy who spots and snipes at adult dishonesty. His mother, Leanna Bigden, was the Meadow Mud printer, a smart, songful, and patient woman who never married. She died suddenly of autumn fever when Callan was 17, leaving him alone to care for his 14-year-old sister. A prodigious worrier, Callan rarely let the kid from his sight. In many ways, this preoccupation is what allowed him to move beyond his grief. He would remain a wounded, defensive spirit for the sum of his life, treating each coming year with apprehension and guided by a simple dream: preserve all you love for as long as you can. Again, that is written to reflect these hooks that he's been given, as well as to reflect his personality traits. So we have kind of an explanation here of why he is snarky and a coward, so to speak, and that it's less fear in the cowardice sense and more just trauma and apprehension, and that's completely randomly generated by the game. I don't know how it does it, but it tends to be pretty interesting stuff a lot of the time. As we progress through the game, more events will be written here, and then if we manage to complete the whole campaign, legacy items will appear here as well. Let's see. These are just the biographical things. I am going to just keep all of these aspects. I've tweaked a bunch of them before, but I think I'm going to keep these as is for now. There are options as far as head shape, face, hairstyles, big variety of them. This is a lot of fun, actually. If you do want to, A lot of times what I've done is I may accept the stats and history that are procedurally generated, but then I will do my own customization of how the person looks and what colors they wear and that kind of stuff. Um, because I like having the biographical details kind of decided for me, but then I like tweaking just to so that they're characters that are fun to look at. You'll also notice here, I really appreciate that there is a non-binary option for gender, as well as an anyone option for attracted to. And those articulate across genders. So you can have males that have different body types but are still called male. You can articulate this however you want. I'm going to keep it as is for now, just the procedurally generated way, but I've really enjoyed making kind of a variety of different gender expressions and identities. And I really appreciate that that's in the game. You can see as we click on these a few, again, expressions of either story hooks or the kind of character he is. You'll remember that I had like a bird person, which would affect whether this was human or not. So these are all things that will, again, determine what kinds of vignettes this person is given. Excuse me. So that's all Callan. We have Alenia as well. So you can see the game automatically assigned her as attracted to anyone, pansexual. That wasn't a choice I made. That can be procedurally generated as well. Let's read her story real quick. As the younger of two children, Alenia lived her lucky childhood only looking upward. She developed an early fascination with the old weird artifacts that the baker collected and dove through books about ancient treasures, even drawing her own maps to coins she buried. She was 14 when her mother died of autumn fever, casting her as her older brother's charge, Callan's burden. Even at 14, she felt her own weight. She tried to grow up as quickly as possible to take on more and more, and she found that effort rewarding and empowering, though it made her stand apart. Peers of her age admired Alenia, but they could never really understand her, and even her brother seemed confounded, almost hurt, by Alenia's temperance and competence. Privately, she would forever keep track of a parallel existence, parallel lives for herself and for Callum and Mom. Lives without the bite of illness, worry, or regret. From her firmest, happiest memories, that alternate path could go anywhere, and she could be anyone. So that's Alenia, and we will get to know her better as we adventure with her. So now we have these other two. I have the option to, pick these from Legacy. And oh, by the way, if you're really unhappy with what you're given here, if it's, oh, I've already played a Snarky Coward recently or whatever, you can just click Randomize, and that will give you a whole fresh set of randomly generated stuff, which I am not going to do, because I already kind of like Callan and Alenia here. So we have these two who are characters from my Legacy. So if you click Pick from Legacy, it'll actually give me a variety of folks. These are all folks who I've finished previous campaigns with. And you can see that, well, at least Gwyn here has two of these little pips. That would mean that she would start out at second level, straight from the beginning. That's because I finished 2 campaigns with her and chose to promote her at the end of those. Whereas most of these others just have the 1. And you can see that that determines, the 2 little stars here determines how many abilities they get to come ready-made with. Now normally when you level up, you're given a choice of a few different abilities, but you have to do that as you level up the character. If I choose Gwyn here as my Legacy, I actually get to choose 2 abilities, whereas if I did, say, Art, I would only get to choose 1 of his, and that's because I've only finished one campaign with him, or promoted him one time. So I am going to take Gwyn just to make it a little easier on myself to start with, which means I get a choice of 2 of these different abilities. You can see from the tooltip, Vigilance means Gwyn's heightened senses allow her to perform up to 2 reaction strikes per turn. That's really helpful. Battle Dance, melee attacks only cost Gwyn 1 action. That is incredibly useful, so I'm going to take that. Untouchable, when Gwyn gets a kill, the next attack against her within 1 turn will miss. And then Long Reach, Gwyn has +1 range with all attacks and abilities. That is really useful, especially for warriors. So I'm going to go ahead and recruit Gwyn Rudless, who is a bookish romantic. You can see I have these 2 mystics. The game will always start you out with at least one of the 3 main character classes. So whoever we choose for this last one from May, we will have to choose a hunter. So these are the hunters that I've done before, and you can see that the one that I've done the most is Griffin Kine. I love this party member. They've been super useful through all 4 of the campaigns that I've played through. Or I guess this would be the 4th. Is that how it works? I don't know. The most useful ability that they have is this Quelling Moss, which is an AoE poison, and it is just tremendously useful for crowd control in battles. You set this up, lay it on 3 or 4 enemies on your first turn, and it's frankly overpowered. So I get to choose 4 abilities because they are a level 4 legacy. So I'm going to go with that. I think I'm also going to take Windwalk and its plus. I don't really worry about Long Reach because Griffin usually uses a crossbow. Riposte I don't really care about with them either. This Windwalk ability is really useful for maneuvering on the map into the right place to again use this Quelling Moss, this AoE poison. And it's just too useful not to use, and I really grown to love this character. We can click into them. They're a poetical intellectual. This is one of them that has been, let's see, where is it? Oh, well, I can't, it won't let me customize. Why does that say Reddit? Huh, no idea. Actually, let's look at their history. So yeah, so you can see here that they had a really pretty small initial story. Griffin was found as an infant, squalling in a basket in the river shallows. The geezers who found them raised them as their own. Asked to describe themselves in a word, they touched pencil to lip and stared off, student. Anyway, it was never difficult for them to find motivation, a coin or a kiss, or a steady source of both. And then you can see all of these are unique adventures that are really specific to Griffin and that span across different campaigns that I've done. You can see right here, after disturbing a mystical gem they ought not to have touched, Griffin's body is being overgrown by a crystalline presence, and you can see that's why they have a gem in their eye, and their arms, one arm and both legs has been overgrown by this crystal growth. That's one of the things that can happen. And then down here you can see that I've used Griffin in 3 different campaigns before, and they have killed a lot of monsters. So we're going to go with them. Excuse me. Now you might have noticed that this number was increasing as I picked stronger legacy characters, starting Calamities. Excuse me. Calamities make the game harder. The recommendation is based on the difficulty level and which legacy hero you start with. So it's given me that as recommended, and you can only change it by this. Calamities are buffs to the various types of enemies. So it might be that a certain type of like foot soldier has extra health, or a certain kind of ranged enemy gets to shoot twice, or if just things like that. And it increased because I chose stronger characters, and I'm okay with that, so I'm just gonna kind of go with it. All right, that was a ton of preamble. I gave you like half an hour of, I don't know, background information on how this game worked for the two viewers that I have, which were, I'm pretty sure, just me and my wife, who was actually playing Mario Party in the other room. So anyway, if anyone watches this on VOD later, that's your background for this. But let's get into it. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna just jump over to Twitter and say that I'm doing this because I don't think I started that or I connected that. Let me make sure that that worked. I'm probably slamming our internet connection since I'm streaming and my wife is also playing something online. Alright, well, let's see how that goes. Okay, we're back. Alright, let's start. So you can see here's the calamities that I was talking about, and each of these is just a little buff for each of these things. Can you not actually see? Oh, that just means that that type of enemy might be able to appear. You can see these are the five main enemy types: Deepists, Drauven, Gorgons, which are apparently not in this particular campaign, Morthagi, and Thrixel, and that's who this main campaign is about. So we will see how that grows. So this starts with a vignette that is called All You Bring, All You Chase. And these initial ones, because I'm just starting the campaign for the first time, or at the first chapter, these will be pre-written, so I think these are consistent as part of the overarching story of this campaign. These aren't procedurally generated. Memories and dreams, those lightless gleams that our eyes seek unfinding. They take us from tables and summon us home, warmly felt and ever fading. A prodigal child of Dove Dream returns a grown woman. She comes with a traveled mind, remembering this pasture for fools who don't worry when the afternoon fades. Imagine if I never left. Married some farm girl, maybe Gwetta Snowling, build a house with her? Gwyn has no plan to stay. At any time we can click on our character sheets and we can see all the information that I already looked at. Now you can see that Gwyn here is also attracted to anyone. And she stepped in something. She seeks a certain book from the famed Dove Dream Library, one she's found before and never long forgets. I don't think there's any more Wild Night books after Felrose. Or did you know that already? Alenia and Callan are sister and brother. You did know that? Callan, you hear me? Both possess the mystic's gift. Hmm? No, sorry, this book, it's strange. Neither of them knows it yet. Both possess the mystic's gift. Neither of them knows it yet. Yeah? How weirdly talking. Huh. Drawings of nightmare beings haunt every page. Callum and Alenia flip through it. Writing's Kioran. What's it called? Dread Compendium. This was just sitting on a shelf? I mean, it's a library. I'm sensing these silvery lines aren't all... Or am I wrong? Aren't all what? They're not standard Kioran words. Names, maybe. I've been chosen for this, haven't I? They found it for me. Noticing the newcomer, Callan snaps the cover closed. Gwyn Rubless? That Callan Bigden? Have I been gone that long? Folks used to call you Cricket. Among other things. Like that. Well, listen, Oh, did you ever meet my little sister? I'm Alenia Bigden. Grown up some, hasn't she? But I need that. Sorry. Need what? Shrink. Gwyn takes the book from Callan's weak hands and walks out. Okay. Okay, so now we have our first choice. Was she always as rude as that? Did her feelings take root? Must have a reason. Maybe the book's worth more than we know. A natural understanding begins to develop. Or, that's someone who knows what she wants. A flicker of longing heats Alenia's chest. So this is, there are 3 different options for relationships between your party members. They can either be rivalries, friendships, or romances. And those have different articulations mechanically as well as narratively. So we're going to get to choose how Alenia feels about Gwyn having maybe just met her for the first time, or I mean, they're from the same town, but we don't know necessarily what their relationship was like previously. So we get to establish it right here. I think maybe we will... I like the idea of the siblings being like rivals, maybe. Do we want a romance straight out of the gate? Let's just do friendship. Let's see how that goes. Skipping any further reunions, Gwyn leaves Dubdream in the hour she's returning. Don't like to suggest this, but should we go after her? We can at least come to an understanding. Young, you're warned that anyone might be anyone someday, that all you bring and all you chase will choose your mapless way. The sun's already low when they embark. Okay, so we have our first instruction here and our first introduction to the map. You can see how big it is. We will be exploring pretty much all of this, or at least as much as the game will generate for us. But we're going to start out very local. These are the party members here. You can click on them, right click on them, and get the same kind of things we've been looking at all along. You can also click on their little tokens here and get a variety of different options. If we wanted to, we could craft certain things or boost this town's defenses against enemy incursions. That's all going to be stuff that happens to us much later in the game. For right now, we are going to just follow Gwyn. Gwyn took a suspicious book from the library. There must be some reason for it. Because this tile isn't explored, we can't just travel there. We have to scout it first, and scouting it usually reveal what's on it, and almost always will provoke the opportunity for a battle. So if I click Scout here, now I get to choose from my list of characters up to 5 to complete the specific task that I am working on. Right now I only have 3 characters. I think I ended the last campaign I played with 9 here. But it also depends on their proximity to the thing that you are assigning them to go do. You can see they're 12 days away, so it's going to take 12 days of travel to get there, and then 7 days to complete the task. So let's go. And I can pause this at any time, and if I wanted to do any other sort of maintenance or assign different actions, I could do that. But let's just let it keep going for now. This bit is called Eldstone. These stories were drafted in trails. Know where that line's from? How many times did you read Wandervane? It's Townspit's best. These stories were drafted in trails, scribbled onto landforms in a lettering of dustprint, crushed clover, and the blood I left on briars. Each moth-blotted figure traced in Moon's hand. These stories of mine are transcribed moonlight, but they were invented by my feet. I think Townspit wrote and wandered in a lonely herd, like she knew what was coming. In her later years, they say she couldn't recall her own name. The first evening comes. Distant hills grow long, bluish beards. It's the kind of thing idiots do in books, but how far behind would you guess we are? Every once in a while, I thought I saw a gleam. Metal. Seemed like her. Yeah, looked like a real warrior, didn't she? I wonder what sent her away. She was an older teenager. We still had Mom then. Don't know. I think I sort of remember. And then, so now what's brought her back? They eventually lie down to sleep. But sleep's elusive on the naked ground. The dew chills their skinny limbs. They stare at the dawn. My neck feels roped to my shoulder. Maybe as our muscles warm up. Going only gets steeper. And further from anywhere they've been. We should well be able to do this. Come on. I was yawning instead of huffing and puffing. It doesn't take long for Gwyn to realize she's being followed, and is nonplussed about it. She drives a harder pace. But the Bigdom siblings prove persistent. Spirited in their pursuit, if not particularly wise. The 8th day dawns gray. They enter the ruins at noon. Stone walls, flailed at by wind and years, stand stubborn where they were founded. One of the last unburied skeletons of old Kior. This is Eldstone. Has to be. I remember you wanting to come here, back before. You hiked a long way. Place is creepy. Feel that? Think it's haunted? I doubt we're catching Gwyn at this point, right? Should we think of having him home? See those metal points on the highest pillars? I read that those were for trapping lightning. Cure and sorcerers, they harness it somehow. Think we'll get a storm? Hey, Alenia? You read about Curans. Used to spout things about Mistcleave and the Astral Queen. Buried wars. You remember that? Yeah, I was obsessed. So, you know the significance of this place? What even was it? Temple? Well, Eldstone was a whole settlement, they think. You know how you hear about the old, the castles, knights, lords, and all? A lot of that's Kiora, I guess, beyond the traditional stuff. What what I read, and I did read everything I could find, they were people, like us, but they knew secrets that have long since been lost. Kioran life remains in most ways a mystery. They built grand halls, keeps, wrote epics, charted stars, made things beautiful things. Many of their stories survive and get put in our language, but a lot of the original meanings are lost. Story, song, and dream, they celebrated these things, but feared. How do I explain it? It's like they believed deeply in the power of imagining. There are poems that skirt and outline some dreadful idea. A threat? I don't know. But it's assumed they made an awful enemy. And now we have ruins. It's unnerving, these broken rocks. I keep seeing those pages, those drawings in my head. I feel like I hear things moving. You? Mom said we supposedly have a Kioran bloodline. Pretty sure she was just stoking my imagination, but... The air splits shrilly open. Scream! From clattering piles, a creature skitters that's unlike anything they've seen. Twin faces leer. The future forks down two horrible throats. So you get another choice. Startled, Alenia bends for a fallen branch. Callan takes out a soup spoon. Or, reacting, Alenia draws her trusty spoon, and Callan grabs an old hard bow. So this is your initial weapon choice. It looks like one of them is going to get a staff, and the other is going to get a one-handed melee weapon, maybe a mace or a dagger of some kind. Gear in this game is not restricted by character class. Every character class can use any kind of weapon. Obviously, you get certain abilities that will make you better at some things than others. Staffs tend to have magic boosts and are good for mystics, but both of these folks are mystics. So I think maybe I'll play against type, whatever, and say that Alenia has the spoon. Well, okay, which of these is more like traditionally sexist? Is it more sexist to give a woman a spoon related to like kitchen, or is it more traditional like RPG to say like give the woman the mage, the staff, like whatever. Let's just do this one. I'm overthinking it, as I tend to. In that moment, the dormant power in their blood awakens. And now we're going to get our first battle. So this is the screen you get when you level up for the first time. Alenia has grown stronger. As a mystic, Alenia has acquired the knack for interfusing her spirit with earthly things, drawing on these bonds to enact formidable magics. Alenia Bigden is now a greenhorn mystic, level 1 out of a possible 7. And now I get to choose from these 3 abilities, and these are randomly selected from a wider swath of potential mystic abilities. So you'll notice it mentioned here something called interfusing. The way that mystics work in this game, unlike most, the way that this mage class articulates is that they don't generate magic in and of themselves. They don't shoot fireballs straight from their hands or lightning or any such thing. Rather, they interfuse with things in the environment. So you'll see once I get to the map screen that there'll be a number of options to choose from that Elenia and Callan can interfuse with, and those will have different uses in combat. Interfuse with a fire, and you'll be able to take that flame and drag it onto an enemy and hit everything kind of in a line. Interact with a tree, and you'll be able to make the tree explode into splinters, and that will do damage. Kind of anything in the environment has a different articulation and use in battle. So these abilities are related to that. So we have Compulsion. Elenia briefly interfuses with an enemy and forces it to move where she pleases. So that could be useful to move enemies into hazards, or just to move them further away and keep her safe. It's not one I've used before. Open Mind. Elenia can interfuse with one additional target, so that just increases options for spells in battle. And Soul Splitting. When Elenia takes damage for each interfused object, 1 point is prevented and the object takes 2 damage instead. So if she would take damage, it diverts it into the thing that she has put her magic into, and that's a good defensive ability. I actually do think I'm going to try this Compulsion. I don't know for sure how useful it's going to be, but if there's open fires or other things like that, then I think that might be interesting. Soul Splitting is really good though, and having defensive options, that 1 point of damage that gets prevented really adds up. Yeah, I think that's too good to turn down. Alright, so now we get to do the same thing with Callan. You can see he got a different set of randomly generated kind of perks. Humanist. So you can see these bolded things here. It'll offer advanced interfusions depending on the kind of thing he is interfusing with. Mechanisms, metal, tools, or shards. So any of this metal stuff, it'll do an interesting extra ability. But only if we're on a map where these things exist. So like right now we're about to fight in a forest. We're not going to have any of these things, these mechanisms and metal and tools, because we're not in a dwelling, in a workshop or anything like that. Sometimes we will fight in buildings where these things exist, and then that would be really useful, but right now it's not useful. Indignance. Callan's presence is charged against his foes, dealing 1 true damage to hostile creatures who enter adjacency with him for any reason. I love this ability because it means you can just basically walk around the battlefield, and as soon as you get close to enemies, they take damage. And the more that you can increase this, which you can if you add to your potency here or if you level up this ability, it just means that you can just walk around just killing things without even having to try, just by moving. And you have this kind of AoE resonating out from you that deals damage. The last one here, Elementalist. Advanced infusions for fire, wood, and liquid. This is a really common one, and it's really useful because fire, wood, and liquid they feature in a lot of different maps. And there are ways to set things on fire that would make this useful. But I think what we're going to do is Indignance. And that might change how we play Callan. Because I got this ability with Callan, that may mean I'm going to want to make him a little more melee based, a little tougher. Because I want him now to kind of get up close to enemies so that he can deal that damage just by his radiance. So we're going to go with that. So now it tells us via cards here, these are the 3 enemies that are on the map. And you can see they also appear here in the sidebar. And you can see up here, kill all enemies, but more Thrixl are coming. So these three that I have right here are the three that you can see on the map. Those aren't the only three that we're going to have to fight this battle. These squares here that have the little glowy monster faces, that's where more enemies will appear later. So you can see we're here in this battle. It looks like Callan and Alenia are separated from Gwyn, which they are squishier than she is. So we need probably to get Gwyn over to Callan and Alenia. It automatically defaulted to starting with Gwyn. I do not have to start with Gwyn. There's no specific turn order. The player gets to choose actions and attacks and everything with all of their party members before it is the monster's turn, and then they take their turns all at once. So there's no kind of, it's not based on a stat of like agility or initiative or anything like that. The player always gets to go first, and every one of their characters gets to go first. So, I might click on Callan first just because I want to show you, I want to show what that Indignance does. In fact, you can already see, so you highlight him and you'll be able to, sorry, tooltips are a little crazy in this game. You can see because I'm clicked on him, what's lit up in green is how far he can move just on a single move. I should probably start down here. So every turn in combat, you get 2 of these diamonds, which are actions, and then this feather, which is a swift action. You can think of like bonus action in D&D terms. And then each of these icons here will show you what it costs to do that thing. So one move up to anywhere within this green space would take 1 action, 1 diamond. I could also choose to interfuse with something, and hovering over this shows me the things that are within range for Callan to interfuse with. And that would only take a swift action, which is free once per turn, so I could still move and even attack after that if I wanted to. So I think we're going to do this. I'm going to interfuse with this tree. Now hovering over that, you can see give some options. There are 2 different abilities that I'll be able to use once I interfuse with this. I could use the wood aspect of the tree for a splinter blast, which would do 2 damage, 2 shred, and 2 pierce. Or I could use the plant aspect for wild grasp, which would deal 3 damage up to 5 range away, and also has a pinning effect. And I think that's the one I want to do. So we're going to have him interfuse with that. That's his swift action. But if I move him up next to this enemy, this thrust, you can see that one of its health points, one of the 3 red bars there, is glowing that it'd be removed. And that's from that Indignance aura that we gave Callan at level up. So if I move him here, and the enemy takes that 1 damage. Now you can see these options here have changed to a diamond with a red dot in it, and that means that choosing that will end the turn. Attacks, by default, always end the turn. There are ways to get around that, certain abilities, but so normally you want to do swift actions first, or moves, and then swift actions, and then save your attacks for last. I want to use this Wild Grasp against this guy here, and it looks like it won't do 3 damage, it might only do 2, and that's because he has 1 defense, maybe? But it will pin him in place, so he won't be able to move. And you can see this has an 83% chance of working, so hopefully it does. And there it is. Okay. So again, I defaulted back over to Gwyn. I'm going to leave Gwyn for a sec and do Alenia first. You see the things in blue are cover. Depending on where the enemy is standing, those can be useful so that it will lower the chances of getting hit by ranged attacks. You can also stand next to a party member, and this little blue shield icon will appear. That means that you're walling with the ally, and that'll raise defense for both of you. I think what I want to do with Alenia is, move her over here. I'm going to interfuse with these rocks over here, which will give me Discus. And then I'm going to use that Discus. Oh, you can also see that give me Soul Splitting. So while I'm interfused with this, if Alenia takes any damage, one point of it will be stopped and will hit the thing I'm interfused with instead. And then we're going to do Discus against this thing. The good thing about Discus is it does have a chance if you're within range. There's a ricochet effect potential, but it doesn't look like the enemies are close enough together for that to matter for this time. So we're just going to do this. And there we go. And that enemy's gone. Okay, so now my only person left is Gwyn, and I am just going to come right up next to this enemy and poke it. There we go. And yes, Gwyn is much stronger than usual. Oh, you can see right there that that thrust tried to do damage to Alenia, but rocks took 2 of the damage. So that was really good. And now you can see 2 more enemies have spawned. That's not all of them that will spawn. More Thrixel are coming. So we will have to deal with those as we go. So for this turn, I'm going to start with Gwyn and have her come over here and poke this guy. Does she have different weapons? Let's see, what does she even have? So it looks like she has a tier 1 Great Spear, which requires 2 hands. She also has a basic wand. The spear's going to do way more damage, so we're going to stick with that. There we go. You can see that said stunt there. Stunt is like this game's version of a critical hit. It usually means extra damage plus other things. So it's defaulted me to Alenia here. I'm going to go ahead and use Discus again. And I'm going to do it against this one. And that worked. So you can see you can only do so many activities with the things in the environment. Interfusing with them and then using them for spells weakens them, it makes them take damage. So you have to manage that as a resource. This thrust only has 1 hit point left, and we know that Callan can do 1 hit point of damage just by getting close, so that's what we're going to do. And there he goes. Didn't even have to fight, and that leaves availability to interfuse with something else if we want. And I think we're going to choose this wall so that he can use Discus if he wants. And we actually do have a whole other turn. I think we're going to withdraw our interfusion from this thing right next to us because we don't really need it. And then that'll give us an extra interfusion to use on a different turn. Alright. And here we have 2 more enemies spawning. But of course, Gwyn's already right here. It dodged, 89% chance. But remember, Gwyn has the ability that we gave her called Battle Dance, where melee attacks only cost 1 action for her. She's going to get to hit again. And this time it works. God, that's useful. Let's have Alenia go with Sapling, and then use Wild Grasp. So you can see that some of that damage was blocked by the... Oh no, this thrust just has 4 HP. He just has a bit more HP. See if he's in range for Discus. Looks like he is, and that's a 100% chance, so this should be good. There we go. one last enemy. And you can see now that's just changed to kill all enemies, so that was the last that we needed. I'm not sure Gwyn is going to be able to get close enough. So that was one move. Oh, she can. This is so good because she has extra range. Remember the other thing that we gave her is long reach. So she has +1 bonus range. And you can see that that means her Great Spear already had 2 as a range. So she actually has a range of 3, I think, which is wild. Yeah, 8 damage, 3 range. That's going to be so useful because it means she's going to be able to stand further back and hit melee attacks. Let's have her do it. And there it is. Yeah, she's going to be really OP for this campaign. Now we get XP after that. And we find gear. Bracelet of Courage. This will add 5, a block rating of 5. So every character has gear slots. Any character class can use any kind of gear that you want. It's kind of up to you whether do you say, well, I'll give it to my Mystic because they don't have a good block rating and we need them to be better at that, or do we give it to our Warrior because they're going to be targeted by melee attacks more often anyway. I do tend to round out my characters probably more than I should or need to. There's also an option, if I just didn't need extra, like, more block, I could salvage this and get 1 hide out of it, and I could use that to craft other gear at a later point. I'm going to give this to Alenia. And you can see that those are actually immediately reflected on her character model, which is really cool. As you level up and you get different gear, it becomes readily visible in your characters, and that's really neat. See, this says claiming gear is permanent. Once I give these to Alenia, no one else can use these. If she finds something better, she can't give it to somebody else. They will just go to waste if I ever replace them. The final shriek shakes columns, bounces along causeways as rattling legs shudder still. Those are some ugly chickens. Wait, is that your spoon? Tell me you didn't just use your spoon. But are we okay with what just happened? Callan and his younger sister. You attracted their attention, you know. At least I was here to save you. Here, this book's not what I need. We followed you. Didn't know there'd be whatever those were. Can't you just stop and shh? The softest song tickles their ears, a hum, so gentle it sounds like a windy lie, like boughs groaning in a breeze, like gaps in walls breathing in a gust. Didn't know. Giovanni Stormkins, are you out there? Wind's shout is warped by sudden sweet-smelling fog. The fog floats from everywhere, turns archways into ogres, rubble into Roman ooze. Master Stormkins, please! Master Stormkins, I'm here! Who are you shouting for? And what are they doing, Alenia wonders? Walking? Are they searching? What are they searching for? Master Stormkins! What are they searching for through the stones and fog and trees? And what are they doing? And what are they... and... oh dear. Uh-oh. I do not know what is happening to Alenia. I'm walking in the forest. Hmm. Yeah. What? Tree trunks gather round them like gawkers. Sunbeams stroke their faces. We all right? What happened? We were. I don't know. Somehow they. Who's they? Thrixel. There must have been more of them. Okay, and when you say that word, Thriskel? My body hurts. Thrixel. The Thrixel. That. Remember that book? This book? Yes. The important thing is they're capable of. How do I say it? Capable of captivating the mind, grounding three birds with a glamour, sending them stumbling far to die. The rakish stranger pauses to be seen. How long had he been standing there? He offers some kind of perfunctory salute. Yes, little nest-thrown dears, you might have been food for wolves and weasels. But a man happened by who bore a gift for magic, a glyphic smile, and an enduring fondness for birds. Okay, home little birds. His speech glides, perfect and strange. Skimming steps whisper him nearer. Is that one of them? The Thrixel? It's only likely. This one's wearing pants. I am not one of anyone, and certainly no one so unpleasant. I'm called the Mothman, wheresoever I am called. I am the only one there is. His articulations are uncomfortable on the eye, spider precise. Simply look at me, not whole human, but half, and half better. I am man and more. He seems all right. Seeming is a weapon they'll wield like a sword. And that is a bright warning, pithy and true. Fortunately, as I have just finished saying, I am no Thrixel. Now forestall your misplaced animosity and listen. I found you three ensorcelled, wandering deep in the woods, removed from any reasonable road. Where unreason reigns, Thrixel hide their aims. And that is one of mine, but you can use it. For one with my abilities, gathering you and waving away your enchantments was a trifle, a matter of politeness. And yet the ones who cast these webs, they're not the dull drones they appear to be, they're imaginative. They expended thought on removing you. They must have deemed three flimsy birds dangerous to their designs. So I'm struck with wondering, why would they think that? You must admit, this is a curious thing. We did kill some of those, the spider-legged, double-headed dragon glow bellies. Uh, but is there anything to do about it? It'll be dark soon. The Mothman follows Gwyn's eyes. He lifts his glance to the shadowy leaves. And that's when Gwyn leaps. Gwyn? I didn't choose for you to do that. The Mothman doesn't seem to hurry, but Gwyn tackles air. Tell me where Master Stormkins is. Tell me, you cursed thing. Ah, dear nestling, follow your own wings back if you are brave. See what is heaping under their shroud. But be warned, you may once more wish your sight sweetly veiled. He turns to leave. Hey, Mothman, why should we believe you? You're lost in the woods, my dear. Whom you believe makes no difference. Oh, and borrowed shadows flush and drip from trees to cohere around him. The forest bleeds to black. I do suggest little birds flock together. You would never guess how many owls there are in a night. Sudden as the darkness clotted, the last light smears it away. They stand where a mothman might never have been. The trees crowd, thicker. Which way did we even come from? How far did we walk without knowing? I'm not really hungry. Did we eat? Sleep? Gwyn, that name. Giovanni Stormkins, right? You shouted it when we were in the ruin. Can I ask who they are? But if you need time, Gwyn whips around. Giovanni Stormkins is who taught me the spear, among other things. He made me hide. Hide? They begin to walk. From the Thrixel. Came and they took him. Took everyone but me. None of us knew enough, knew anything. Knowledge is the first step. Come on. Think we ought to head south. Alright. Life's not supposed to just happen to you. It's not a story. We have to take back control. I was wondering when you'd start that talk. Yeah, you're right, though. You're right. Ah, the sad little eaglets. I shall stitch for them a hero name. They may someday need it. Name the company. So it's going to auto-generate a couple of options for our adventuring party, like just total D&D style. So we could be the Stewards of the Open Palm, the Swans of the Guttering Flame, the Children of the Lion, or you can enter your own name, and within this gives you a randomization option, which you can kind of tell it's a thing of the adjective noun a lot of times. So let's look through some options here, because none of these really stand out to me. I don't think our party is Mustangs. I don't know what Amber Honor means. That might actually work, the Shell of Knowledge, because Gwyn was definitely talking about knowledge being needed. I kind of like that. So our adventuring party for this campaign is the Shell of Knowledge. Let's go with that. Here follow the tales of the Shell of Knowledge. Fly home, little birds. So all of that so far, obviously the characters are procedurally generated, but all of the text there, that interaction with the Mothman, would have been pre-written for the start of this campaign as an introduction. From this point on, the game will serve up more random options. So you can see here we're in this area, and this is actually different from where we started. I don't know if, yeah, it looks like this is the first zone that we were in, and the zone we actually started in is obscured here. But what we're going to have to do first is scout one of these two tiles for more information. So we can click on that. We can tell it to scout. And these are the only 3 characters I have, so we're going to do it. So this bit is called Catching Up. Callan walks with his nose in the dread compendium. You can read it? I wish I knew, Kioran. No, I was only fascinated with the sketches. We've been lucky with the weather, that's something. Burned those drawings into my brain as a kid. Saw my first Thrixel. It was like an image came off the pages. But you know, I have a question. Where'd you get that word, Thrixel? Master Giovanni used it. I believe it's wild speech. Giovanni came from hill painting people. One of us did, in fact, study the language, right, Elenia? You read, old Kioran. Oh, maybe, yeah. Problem is there's 2 different letterings, and I'm good with one, but not the other. I need a desk and some work paper. So you're not going to try? I will. It'll be slow going, is all. My sister's teasing you, I think. My fault. I helped raise her. But why'd you head to Eldstone? The ruin? People said it was haunted. Glowing lights, fleeting noises, disappearances. Rumors I heard as I made my way home. Sounded like a likely spot. A storm catches their heels. In the end, I was half right. The Thrixel were there, but Master Javoni wasn't. The storm catches their heels. It latches on long enough to leave them soaked, then runs east. You left Stramheather, what, 8 years ago? You're so... Can I call you womanly? I was never... I mean, you're really brave, and I wish I was too. We do what our hearts demand. Callan, do you have a crush on Gwen? Can I have my bedshirt back? Sure, it's damp, but at least the book's dry-ish. Last thing I'm wondering about is your magic. Is my memory lying? You both worked magic in the ruin. Your mom's the lady who runs the print shop. Leanna Bigdon, right? Does she know? Does she also have powers? Our mom died 4 years ago. But no, never gave any mystical hints or anything. Oh, I'm sorry. It's terribly sad. No, it's alright. Things happen. Not even sure how to answer you, though. When do you call something magic? It wasn't like using a thing. It was almost as simple as shaking hands. Like shaking hands with creation. Right, Alenia? No, yeah. Something feels off. Do you feel that? What do you mean, off? I don't know. Weird. The air's tensing up. Something's moving out there. Should assume the worst. So, can you do magic? Do you know how? Or can you at least fight? We'll do our best. Any advice? The threat closes around them. Stay behind me. Stay alert. I'll protect you. Wouldn't it be strange if... In that moment, Callan locks eyes with Gwyn. Realization blossoms between them both. Okay, so here's my option. Either they have both looked at each other and realized all day they were following us, choosing this spot so we can devise a defensive strategy, or is that my heart I'm hearing? Why now? Am I falling for her? Callan's handsome. Am I just noticing that? I ship it. We're gonna go with it. Can we talk, Gwyn? We will. Let's survive first. So I'm sure it would have given me, like, a certain buff to this incoming battle, this encounter, if I had chosen the defensive strategy. Instead, I'm going to choose the romance relationship, and that will have different mechanical benefits. Alright, so we have quite a few potential enemies here. Goal for the battle is just to kill all enemies. And you can see right now, only one enemy is visible. And we have large sections of the map that are just fog of war grayed out. As you get closer, you'll be able to see more, and having mystics is helpful because if you interfuse with certain objects, those act kind of as they increase your field of vision. If you're interfused with an object, then you get a wider range of what you can see. So I think I don't want to necessarily expose Alenia, but we do need to kind of push out into this area anyway. And I don't want to use 2 movement. So I'm going to put her here, maybe? So that expanded my vision a little bit more. can interfuse with this. And that gave me a little bit more vision. So that's good. I still only see one enemy for now. I don't think I want to move with her again. If I can use Discus, I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's only a 78% chance, and it'll only do 3 damage, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. Good. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get close enough to use Callan's Indignance Aura to do damage. So I think I'm just going to have him stand next to Alenia for the wall buff. Oh, did that take 2? That took 2 movement. Oh. I thought it was green. It was actually yellow to get him over there. Oh, that's frustrating. That wasted his whole turn. He didn't even get to interfuse with anything. That's unfortunate. I am just going to get... Let's see. I'm going to move her to here, Gwyn, and then I'm going to turn on Guardian. You can see as I hover over Guardian that any square in that red area, if any enemy comes within that square, Gwyn will attack them automatically as a reaction, kind of as an attack of opportunity in D&D terms. So that will protect my mages a little bit. But he was too smart and did not come into melee range. He stopped just short. That is frustrating. Well, you are already interfused, so can you hit him from here? It's only going to do 1 damage. These guys are tougher. Well, let's just start with Gwyn then. It probably doesn't matter. Alright, stab him. Ah, she got the stunt buff, which killed him. She crit. That was good. Okay, now Alenia can come and stand next to you. Use a different interfusion. And then maybe try and use this wild grass. There we go. And she also stunted, so that killed the enemy. That was really good. And we're going to have Callan do the same thing. Stand up here. Interfuse. Let's see. It's a lamp. I really like Splinter Blast. It doesn't do a lot of damage. Yeah, let's interfuse with this and then light the lamp. Oh, that helps because that meant we could see this. Okay, that's good. Yeah, let's illuminate that. What will that do? So you can see the Thrixel use interfusions as well. And they're just coming out of the woodwork now. Alright. Let's kind of go one at a time here. Wild Grasp. That's good. Come stand over here and hit this guy. Okay. And then I can use this flare, so that would blind, so they'd miss their next attack, but not really that useful. What other interfusion does he have on him? Nothing. Oh, I didn't mean to withdraw the... I'm messing up left and right here. Doing well. I don't like Splinter Blasts. You can see these things with the like magenta outlines. Those are things that Thrixel has already interfused with, so I can't. I don't like it. And I can't interfuse with that because Alenia already is. Boo. I'll just come up and stand by Gwyn behind this stuff for cover, and then you can interfuse with this log, I guess. Oh, he warped. Okay. I want Eleni to go first because she's still interfused with these rocks and might get a ricochet on this discus. Yeah. Bam. He dodged the ricochet, but it did kill the one guy. I want to kill the big guy, so let's have Gwyn. Really? Well, that's good at least. Well, they're out of range of that, so now I have to withdraw and do a different thing. Refuse these webs? Yeah, let's do that. And then let's bone lance this guy. Oh no, is that going to hit me? Okay. Bone lance has a pierce effect that I would hit myself. This isn't going to go well. Oh, there we go. I just have to change the square that I'm on. Alright. Didn't kill him. Oh, good block. Alright, now we should be able to finish these off easily enough. Oh, I didn't mean to make you move. Oh gosh, that messed it up. I could undo. There is an undo option, and I'm just not going to bother with it. Are you in range? You're not in range of that. What if I interfuse with this tree? I need you with that. Well, I blew up the tree, but it didn't actually kill me. And I'm not going to be able to do that without hitting Elenia now because I moved her like an idiot. What if you just hit him? Just move here and just... Oh yeah, I forgot all about his AoE. Of course he dodged. Alright, Gwyn will take care of it. Mama has you. Mama Gwyn has you. We have another Great Spear. It's not better than the one that she already has. So you can see here it says stunt damage actually would be better. But when you click on it, stone weapons, every elemental weapon has lower stunt damage, but they have a rider to their stunt ability where it'll pin an enemy or it will do like a cleave effect or something. So it's less raw damage, but it has this extra ability, and I usually prefer that. I think I'm going to give this to Callan, just so that he has something that isn't a staff, and he tends to be more in melee range with this aura. So you can take the spear. And then we have dodge, pauldrons, and I think I might give those to Callan as well for the same reason, but he's in melee range more often. And he's wearing pauldrons. Scrambling to higher ground, leaving a wake of twisted Thrixel bodies, the three of them stand, breathing hard. The late gray sun squeezes past the clouds. All gone? I think so. Getting out of here might be smart. Well, we have light, yeah. Silence wraps their party until trudging steps start to sound like unsaid words. Gwyn. Look, so maybe I'm a nobody in your eyes, and I'd understand that. I mean, I'm just a boy from your hometown, but Gwyn, I want you to know that I think I've fallen for you. Ah? kind of were always the older girl that I never thought I'd have a chance with, but I don't know, we're taking chances on our lives at this point. How can I keep chickening out? Callan? Hmm? I mean, Callan, it's beyond a bad time, but if you could look through my eyes, I think you'd fall in love with the brave man I see. Yes, would, would you be too shy to walk with me? So, smoldering hearts take flame. Like falling embers dropped into the dark, they'll share heat until the earth blacks them out. I guess we'll see. And if we look at, well, I have to click through these calamities, that's fine. But if we look at Callum's relationships now we have a crush. If I wanted, I could click this so that lock these heroes together as soulmates. Throughout all campaigns, these heroes will only become soulmates with each other. Obviously, when you bring certain characters back that you've used in previous campaigns and their legacy characters, you suddenly have new procedural characters for them to form relationships with. If you click that, that would mean that they would only ever fall in love with the same person they fell in love with in the past, assuming you can also manage to recruit that person and add them to your team. Otherwise, they just wouldn't have a relationship. I kind of just like to treat them as different iterations on the same kind of person. So every campaign, they find new love, and that's fine. All right, so we finished this place. Now we need to scout the next tile. The only thing that you have to do to finish the chapter is to do these things. I have to get to this square, and 3 heroes must survive. I always am as thorough as I can be. I want to explore every tile, fight every battle, do as much as I can. There is a detriment to taking too long, and it's up here. You see this little 138 counter. This says 138 days until the next calamity card. If you take too long, you spend too much time doing other activities, then you end up getting more of these calamities. And that can kind of make encounters, I don't know, start to escalate on you because the enemies start getting more abilities and you can't stay on top of them. I've never really had it be a problem to this point, um, so I just take all the time that I want for the most part. You can see here that damage does persist outside of battle. You don't finish a battle and immediately get healed up to full. It does take time. Um, the time usually goes pretty quickly if you're assigning them other tasks. There's also this multiplier here that says labor times whatever. That is related to the character's speed stat. Um, the kind of character class that they are can also have an effect on that, or certain other abilities can have an effect on that. Mostly it's just their speed, though, and that just determines how long certain tasks take. Alright, so we discovered Brightblade Prairie, on which is Brodenland Weaver Works, and there's a battle to be fought here, because it is occupied by lurking Thrixel. You can also see that there's these 2 icons here. I think this is 2 fabric. If this tile is maintained under my control and hasn't been overrun by enemies at the end of the chapter, then this is loot, crafting materials that I will get to be able to upgrade weapons and armor at the end of the chapter. So that is the advantage to taking the time to go to all of these tiles and scout them out and fight the battles there. So we're going to fight this battle now. You can see Gwyn's healed up, and we are ready to go. When we fight, rustle, rustle, hoot, hoot. Lots of night sounds. Feeling the tension? Focusing on the task, Staying alert. You? Oh, I get to choose. I'll tell you the truth, I'm this close to dropping my weapons and dashing out of here. Or, I just can't wait to get my hands on these bugs and break them. Come on. So remember, Callan is the snarky coward, so I think we're going to play the type and have him do that. Don't worry, I get it. Let's just focus on surviving this one. I'm good with that, sure. Oh, Callan and Elenia gain temporary armor and warding, so for this battle we have a buff. Alright, as you can see we are fighting outdoors, but we're going to be going through a gate into a building or farmyard or something, so there might be some man-made structures to refuse with. But for starters, as usual, we're just going to have Gwyn poke stuff. What can we interfuse with? We can do wild grass from this bush. We could light that campfire. Let's just do the bush. We could not do a ton of damage. Let's have Callan get close for his aura. And then let's have him attack with his new great spear. Got it done. God, I miss having a hunter really badly. This should be easy enough. There we go. And you can move up to there. And you can also move up there. I'm going to have Callan move to here and then withdraw. Oh, that was Elenia's interfusion. Ah, crap. I messed it up. Well, withdraw your interfusion because we're not fighting out in the courtyard anymore, so you don't need it. And then I'm going to have your other action be to open this door. Okay. Why don't I see any other enemies yet? I don't feel good. So I could do a chest, I could do a loom, I could do this coat rack. I don't really like the Splinter Bast ability, but it'll act as a, it'll improve my vision so that I can see what the enemies are hiding. No, it didn't. They're just not here. Where are they? And there's one. Okay, what can we interfuse with? We can do a constrict, which would do magic damage, and hobble it. I don't think that would hit it through the wall, so I think I'm going to have to do this. And then I'm going to have to do this. And it didn't do a lot. Gwyn, can you get up there? I mean, you can, you just hold over to attack. No, why not? Oh, you think you're so clever, you get to attack twice. Okay, can I open this door? Oh. Let's back over here. It's gotta be behind the farmhouse. This is weird. Oh, withdraw this infusion. I don't need that. Then, oh, spooky. Does it not connect? Oh, there it is. That's annoying. How did I not see it when I was standing like right here? Alright, well, You come to right here, interfuse with this, and grab him. Nice. I don't know that there's going to be anything Callum can do. I don't really want to put him in harm's way. Let's instead have him be behind Gwyn. Alright, Gwyn's got this. Look at this range. This is ridiculous. Fully 3 squares away, and Gwyn can hit them as if they were right next to her. And she gets to attack twice. Yeah, she is incredible. Oh no! Blocked. Can I still constrict? I can. Beautiful. Good job, Olivia. Haven't quite leveled up yet. Another dodge. Let's get that to Olivia. Okay. So bards became stronger. Alright, I guess we have to re-scout this tile, but I'm not going to do the fight on this tile until I've scouted out the other areas. We did take 2 damage, but do it quickly enough. There it goes. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that just progressed the game. I couldn't have gotten to these anyway without going through this square, or this tile. It's been how many days? Summer's practically done. I don't know who's saying this, so I can't do verses. Did we really wander all this way senseless? The fire carves light out of logs. Why do I feel like everything I knew before is long ago and far away? Because you have a terrible memory. This is kind of just what it is, I think. Being powerful and being aware of what your power threatens. Maybe that's growing up. I might have wanted to get closer to you. Didn't think it could happen. One of those clinging nights that are hard to slip out of. Mind if I get some more light? Not to kill your moment, but scoot over. Make room, make room. Time wanders. Their piled tinder drains to a scatter of the most interesting pieces, the ones they're reluctant to burn. Olenia is able to translate large sections of the archaic text. A little later. But I just don't know if it's more than a picture book. There's a reverent quality to the way the Kiorans write about these monsters. It's beautifully considered, and there are aspects that are interesting, but I think it's time we all lay our heads down. Who's this? Outlaws? Poachers? It's Griffin! I love them. Better warn them in any case. Wait, those look like the printer's kids. Alright, so Griffin knows Callan and Olenia. The hill painter's approach is noiseless. You're burning the wrong wood if you're producing that much smoke. Gwyn clears the shrieking fire in a bound. Behind me, you two! Wait, isn't that Griffin Kine? Forgive me, I remember your last name. Glad to see you're well, but odd you're all the way out here. From the Big Dim print shop, right? That's us. Mom was Leanna Big Dim. We know this person. This person was obsessed with our mom. Huh? No, I needed printing done. They introduced themselves around the fire. When was I at your shop last? Can't have been too long. Been at least 2 circuits of the seasons. Yeah? My next volume's getting pretty unwieldy. Guess you seem pretty sure. My sister brings up things I did when she was 7. It's kind of creepy. Got a long tail, we call that. Yeah, but anyway, that's when you two put my last book together after I went expecting your mom. Leanna had a stunning array of knowledge and the ability to edit on the fly, a dazzling mind. I'm still sorry she's gone. One time oh, but sorry. Anyway, came wandering this way and saw your fire. Have to tell you, forest is dangerous these days. Things have come crawling out of. Do you know the Thrixel? You know of them? Have you seen them? Where? What can you tell us? I was tracking a whole stream of them. A brief glimpse was all I allowed myself. As you likely know, there's lore that says many died for even that much. Their heading was unmistakable. Dove Dream. They're headed for our home. I was able to get around them, those Thrixel, get a warning to the townsfolk, but going by the tone of their response, I doubt they fled. I don't think they believed me. Is this happening? How well do you know these lands? How well do I, Griffin Kine, know these lands? That same night. You were that hill painter who'd come to town sometimes, haunt the library, harass the printer. I take offense to that. Besides, I should clarify, I wasn't born among them, the hill painters, was found in bad shape, rescued, and took to their way of life, started collecting their lore, getting volumes printed, bringing it back to them. Got them printed by Callan's mother. Now I see. Yeah. Those two, Callan and Elenia, were raised by the most splendid mind I've ever met. Having that woman for a mother and losing her would have left me shattered. You clearly have something you want to ask. Well, yeah, I had a teacher far from here. Came from hill painting people. Giovanni Stormkins? Giovanni Stormkins? Nope, sorry, that's not one I've heard of. As I'd expect. It was the slimmest chance. Anyway, think you can kill Thrixel? Yeah, Thrixel. That's what's needed. My adopted people have legends of Thrixel, but legend is all I believe they were. Do those legends include a Mothman? You gonna say you met the Mothman? You too? By all and any gods, you're loopy, aren't you? The Mothman, now that is a tall tale. Gwyn didn't like that. So we have to return to Dove Dream, but I'm pretty sure Dove Dream was here, unless it moved. Oh, it's down here. Okay, I should have scrolled the dang map. Alright. So, now we have 4 people. And we have Griffin the Hunter. And now you're going to see how much I use poison, which is all the dang time. Let's scout this tile. I'm probably going to finish out this chapter, which is just going to take like 3 more battles. And then I will call it. Let's go. Did you see the huge moth that landed in Elenia's hair earlier today? How could I not? And you weren't gonna say anything? She walked around with that thing sticking out at a jaunty angle for like an hour. You think you can tell a story? I don't need my last thoughts tonight to be a Morthagi. We haven't even seen Morthagi. That's interesting. That implies that they've been fighting some, but we haven't seen any yet. So you can see this is one that is more of a randomly assigned vignette. It's not procedurally generated in the sense that it is pre-written. You can see it even gives a writer's credit. I think that's so awesome that each of these little vignettes is actually credited to a writer. As a writer myself, I think that's really cool. And it even has a wiki option that I'm not going to click on because it would open a browser tab, but you could go to their the Wildermyth wiki and see more details about this particular vignette. Let's see what story Griffin has. Well, what would you like to hear? Oh, we get to choose. Tell me the one about the trickster moon. How about the fire queen and the raindrop? Or nothing too fantastic. Just tell me something that happened to you. I can't remember. I'm not sure if this is going to determine a later event or a later opportunity that's going to come up. I'm going to go with the trickster moon. I don't know. I've spent hours playing this game, but I forget some of the specifics. So let's go with this. Griffin told of how the moon used to be a dark hunk of stone until it tricked the sun into giving up some of its light. And the sun, as you always suspected, can't stand the thought of anyone approaching a fraction his brilliance. The moon knew that a fair fight was out of question. So, while the sun was distracted, the moon fled over the horizon, drawn by a team of fireflies. And to this day they take refuge in the night sky, shining where the sun will never find them, giving their blessings to those who move swiftly through the shadows. Temporary speed for this battle. Okay. Oh, and we are fighting Morthagi. Okay, that makes more sense. So yeah, they're these weird, like, poison steampunk automaton creatures. Very unsettling. Speaking of poison, I have Griffin now, which means I can use Quelling Moss, and that is just so good. So that gives them poison 3, which means at the start of their turn they will automatically take 3 damage. So as long as I can put 4 other damage on them this turn, they will be dead, and that is delightful. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, though. Oh, did I hit that one too? I did. I didn't even see that this guy was here, but he got hit by the poison as well. That's fantastic. Wonderful. Let's just turn on Guardian. How close can you get? She's not going to be great. There's nothing really to interfuse with because it's on the other side of this wall. I mean, I might as well if they come through, I guess. Stand right there. Callan, you can do the same thing. Maybe you can interfuse with this thing. Just wait there. Alright. Oh, nice. Haha. So I'm going to do Callan, and I'm just going to have him walk up here, and this is going to be awesome because this thing has poison 3 on it. So if I just have him just stand right here, he's going to die next turn. I don't even need to hit him. But I can't open the door either, so I might as well hit him. Ah, he dodged, so, well, he'll die next turn. It's fine. I'm going to move Griffin up here and open the door. And then they can throw Quelling Moss in. Ah, blocked. Boo. Does that have another door? There's probably more enemies in here. I don't know if I want to split the part. They'll be fine. Gwyn is a one-woman army anyway. I'm going to have Alenia come up and open the door for Gwyn. There's nothing even in here? Or do I have to proceed in there before I find out? No, I'm just going to see Gwyn. Yep, there's nobody even in there. Alright, fine. Come on, you nerds. Oh, that actually did way more damage than I am comfortable with. Alenia is way out of the way, so let's just have her walk all the way over here. Griffin again. Throw poison. Okay, so the Watchman is taken care of. It's donezo. I'm gonna try and poison Sommelier. 6, but it has 7 health, so I need to do 1 damage to it. This will probably kill it outright anyway. Yep. Cavalry can come up and get it. Yeah, didn't even have to wait for the poison. And that gives Gwyn another level. Ooh, Griffin and Elenia are now rivals. That's fun. And that just happened automatically. I couldn't control that. Okay, do we add even more long reach? That seems crazy. The wolf call is nice actually because it increases speed for our allies and just makes everyone more mobile. So I might go with that. As a swift action, every other turn, Gwyn knocks an enemy up to 3 tiles away, dealing 2 damage. 1 damage for each arm Gwyn has. No. I don't know that I love that. Riposte, Gwyn will counterattack after a successful melee block or dodge. Maybe. I think I like this wolf call. I just don't know that that's going to make a difference. Let's go with the wolf call. And we get more block pauldrons. Let's give those to Gwyn. Okay. Morthagi get a calamity buff. Let's proceed and scout this tile. So we've uncovered it, but before I do the battle, I'm actually just going to let time pass a little bit so that Gwyn can heal. Didn't miss any squares, any tiles? No, I didn't. Alright, well, let him let you heal. There we go. Now we can fight. The Thrixels shouldn't be too much further ahead of us. I could have sworn they went this way. They did. Look, behind these rocks. What have you found, Gwyn? Tunnels, burrowed deep into the earth. Should we check them out? Ah, so now we actually have percentages here. Callan wants to jump in. Let's take the battle to them. Down we go. Griffin wants to wait. Let's not be hasty. We can lay a trap and wait here for them to emerge. I think we're going to wait for them. I mean, it's 1 percentage difference. But I like Griffin, so. Hurry, who knows when they'll get back? This is a cowardly way to engage our foes. Yeah, but you're a coward, my guy. We're committed to this course now, Callan. Let's just get it done. Working together, they fashion a trap from nearby saplings. But the work goes slowly with the anger that's simmering. I hear something. They're coming, but the trap isn't ready. Everyone hide. They quickly duck behind the rocks, the sounds of chittering growing even louder until finally the creatures emerge. They know. So much for our advantage. Here we go. So apparently I failed that roll. That 61% chance. Yep, which gave all foes an extra hit point. That is unfortunate. Ah, this is the first time this campaign we've seen a spirit. Spirits know how to warp through doors. When there's a spirit on the map, if you catch it, and all you have to do to catch it is move any character adjacent to it, that character will get to imbue one of their weapons with that elemental spirit. The spirit will be absorbed into the weapon. So you want to make sure that you use someone who doesn't already have an elemental weapon. So, for example, I would not want Gwyn to get up there with her great spear because it's already a stone element. Griffin has both water with a crossbow and stone with a spear. But neither Callan nor Alenia have elemental elements imbued into their weapons. I think I would like his staff, maybe? So let's try and do that. Let's try and make it so that Callan can catch the spirit. So that means somebody else probably needs to come up here and open the door. And the water spirit is there. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have picked Callan because he's too far back. Alenia can get there, but I don't want to imbue a spoon with water. I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter. I would rather do something else though. Oh, he can get there. He's just going to be way in harm's way. Okay, so before I do... but if I try and do poison, I'm going to poison the spirit. We'll be fine. I may regret this deeply. But getting up there will let him do his one radiant damage anyway, his aura damage. Like that, and like that. And then I can replace the tier 0 staff with a tier 1 water staff. Thanks, little spirit. And that does more damage, and also increases spell damage, which is good for infusions. And it has a randomized name, which is the Slender Ghost Croiler. Crowley? Yeah, I don't know if that's French or something. Anyway, so now the spirit's gone. But now Callan is a little bit uncomfortably in danger. I'm going to use Griffin's wind walk ability to get them closer. I just asked them to say water spoon. They're going to get closer so I can try and throw poison through the door here. Yeah, this is going to be good. 1 poison. 2 poison. Excellent. Alright, now I need Gwyn to get up here. And I want you to try and take care of this guy. Didn't quite kill him though. What can you interfuse with? Nothing in that. No, this is going to be bad. They're all going to get attacked. So we're just going to have to wall up and hope for the best. Alright, that wasn't too bad. So I don't need to worry about these guys because they're poisoned. They will die by the start of their next turn. So I'd rather just spend time killing these other 2 fellows. Swap you back to your spear. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Well, that's 5 damage. That would only be 3 damage. The spear's better. Ah, you blocked it? Boo. Okay. Gwyn, I want you to stand right here and poke this. Good. Ooh, and now Alenia gets extra speed. That's a door, right? Is it closed? No. So why don't you, move up to here. Why won't you move? I want you to move. Move to here. Not enough time. What is it? I don't know what you're saying. Maybe there is a door there that I don't see. I have no idea what that error message is saying. Let's just have you stand here then. Oh, there is a door over there. Alright, come stand here. And you die. And you die. Oh, that was it. Alright. And now our mystics get level up. Ooh, oh man. Do I want to give Alenia Indignance too? Or do I want to increase her soul splitting? I think I'd rather do that. Just double down. It's such a good ability though. Why couldn't I have gotten that as an upgrade for... Well, maybe I will. Yeah, okay. Base damage and range increased by 1. Yeah, this is going to be great. Ooh, I want that too. I basically am making him like a battle mage. Anyway. And we get a great sword. Which, Alenia has like no other weapons, so I may as well give it to her so she's not using a literal spoon. Although I guess the spoon does increase her spell damage, so I don't have to replace the spoon. The spoon's technically gone. Give it to her in her spell. Right? Yeah, because this is a water. Yeah. Scuff marks on the floor. What? You saying you found something? Only the evidence of a furtive mind. The implication being this cabinet was moved. Hey, you can use your arms, right? Are they saying that because they have a big gem rock shield for an arm? That's funny. Shifting the cabinet takes a little sweat. Well, I guess they're still using their gem. That's right. Don't stop lifting. This wood smells funky, but they manage. Definitely a hole in the wall. Wow, I have to admit there is one. Big of you, Alenia. I'm impressed. I'll have a look. Yeah, or well, why else did we move the thing? Look, Musk. The room is deeper than it first seemed, and the air has that special smell. How much room is there? You can come in. There's a library. The tomes were someone's treasure once. Now again, they'll find loving hands. And I got 2 spell threads. More crafting gear for the end of the chapter. And a new card is added to the Thrixl deck. Scorier. I don't think I've ever fought this enemy before. I suppose that is the other downside to doing all the battles, is that every time you finish a battle, it adds a calamity. But you get stronger too, so I don't know. Anyway, we need to get back to Dovedream. Let's go. This is the final fight of the chapter. When this fight is over, the chapter will end. Make sure you're ready. Alright, well, let's drop a hard save, I guess, then. Not that it really matters. The game's really good about auto-saving. Milk and Mill. That old lady would always scowl when she saw me on the road. She hates everyone. It's horribly quiet. This is what it's like, coming home? No, it's discernibly different. There's chimney smoke. Can't be abandoned. Nothing appears out of place. There's no damage. The only sounds are boot scrapes, feeble breeze, and their own talk. No birds. That feeling of being disjointed from time and earth. It's telling enough, isn't it? Is it? Into the town center they file. The cloud-cased sun renders the world in dreary, bloodless hues. Oh, visitors. Who's that? Mayor. At least he's... Welcome to Dovedream. This is one of the towns. What do you say? One of the towns? It's definitely one of the towns that exist, isn't it? Hey. Hey. Schoolmaster? You're creeping me out. I'm... I'm lost. I think I'm lost. They seem enchanted, right? Sleepwalking. Hmm? A rasping noise starts, stutters, and skips. It comes from nowhere and everywhere. As if a cat snagging his claws through the fabric of creation, reality snaps, runs, and violently curls. Bits of truth begin leaking into view. Is that a person? It's the miller, old Holly Milken. That Mothman warned us what we'd see. There's so many flies. Death! We have to run! Death! Oh, no. Finally, the real town of Dove Dream spills into view like a half-eaten corpse, dumped from its shroud. Back, old fool! Hide! How many horrors have they visited on these people? Why? The horrors are far from done. No. By any and all gods. It stumbles through fly clouds. No! No! Giovanni? Master Stormkins! Giovanni Stormkins, are you? Careful, I don't think he's himself. Fear and chaos descend. Alright. That is a lot of enemies, including the Lost Master. The remains of his face are unmistakable, but no dream lights his glad eyes. Oh dear. Alright, well, it is the end of the chapter, so we may as well get it started. And as always, we get it started with Griffin and Poison Moss. Do I want to get up this close? Well, I can't get the Lost Master if I don't move. Unless I use one of my Wind Walks as a swift action. What if I do... let me look at the whole map. Okay, I am going to have to go north. I don't know. I'm going to have to do a lot. This battle's going to take a while. Sure. Go here. I don't know what this red... Is that the enemy threat range? Maybe. There's no configuration where I can get all three of them anyway, but I want to get the master. Let's do that. And then... that. You just had to dodge, didn't you? Oh dear. Okay. Well. Goodbye, Lost Master. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have killed everyone else first. I didn't even look up here. I didn't see if there was another option. Oh well. Master Stormkins. Giovanni Stormkins, do you even know me? Still too much on, girl. Power from the trunk. Your weight looks done. You're almost flying like a kite. Here I come. Whoop. Clang. Huh? With a smug look on his face. Come on, Gwyn. Master Stormkins, I'm sorry. I keep fixing one thing, screwing up another. We fall down all the time. That's why we have to get good at it. Perfection's a long way off. But if we keep tripping forward, we'll fall closer and closer to our goal. All the lessons I had at your hands didn't prepare me for this. That got dark. Alright. Did I poison you at all? Yeah, you have 3 poison, you have 3 poison. So it'll kill you. You need to take 2 more points of damage, and I will probably do that with this great sword. Like so. Good job. I guess I just need Callan to double move down here. I have to clear out all these enemies. Oh yeah, I forgot that would do it. Oh, that aura is so good. I forget how good that is. Rude of this game to give me angst. Yeah, it's rough. Okay, I wasn't even watching. I was looking at the chat. I didn't see what they did to me, but he is poisoned, so something happened to him. Hey Gwyn, why don't you kill this big monster? Oh, what? I said kill this big monster. I said kill this big monster. Why don't you open this door? Anything in there? Not that I can see. Alright. Well, come down here. And can you shoot this? I don't know that that's better. 1 damage but 2 poison. Oh, but really good stump chance. Yeah, that's better. Nice. Oh, you can shoot twice? Excellent. Okay. So that means Callan just needs to get close. And there we go. Nice. Okay. Alright, my team's not so bad. Where else are these enemies? Hate to waste a whole move, but step here and open this door. Just step inside and make sure there's nobody in there. There's nobody there. Alright. Come on up here. Might as well come in here. Just make double sure. I guess there's a back way that I could send Griffin. I don't know. Aha. Alright, that's all I needed to do. Oh, what? You, like, made this thrust way bigger. Oh, now I need Griffin for realsies. But they are way too far back. Can you windwalk up here? Oh, yes. This is very good. Because now Griffin can use 2 mosses and poison 3 of these enemies. Nice. Okay. 8 health, 8 health. They all have 8 health. So actually, all I would really need to do, how close can I get Callan? That's going to kill both of them from poison damage on their next turn. That's wonderful. Okay, and you can just hit this guy. Excellent. And you're just a long ways away, so I just need you to use movement. And die, and die, and die. Oh, you're supposed to be dead. How did you live? And you're just beating up on Callan. I don't like it. What is stridulation? It's not okay. Hit him, please. No! I need you to come up here. Use moss. I need you to come up here. Interfuse with this. And then blast it. Okay, shred some armor at least. Now I'm nervous about putting Callan in harm's way because he takes some damage. I don't like it. Let's do it anyway. Well, that's, yeah, to hit Gwyn, that's fine. She can take it. Oh no! Oh gosh, 5 damage. Okay, well, it's a good thing that this happened. It's a terrible thing that this happened, but it shows you this aspect of the game. Your characters can die. Death can be permanent. If they fall in battle, if they're reduced to 0 hit points, you are given a choice. Gwyn feels as if her limbs are made of lead. She tries to call out a warning, but she's too late. Callan doubles over. So, I can choose one of these 3 options. I can either give Callan a permanent debuff, -1 health and -1 speed, for this entire campaign, not just this chapter, but forever. As long as I have Callan, he will have less health and speed. Or I can choose for him to die permanently. And if he does, either Gwyn will get +1 warding permanently for this campaign, so she'll have higher magic defense, or I can add 10 years to her retirement age. And it's something we haven't talked about, but every character, when they're automatically generated, has a retirement age that once they reach that, they will retire at the end of that chapter, and you won't have them in your party until they essentially get too old. And that's another detriment to going all over the map and doing all the battles and doing all the scouting and everything, is because that takes more time. The more time they spend adventuring, they butt up against that retirement age, and you might not have them in your party anymore. I pretty much never let characters die because I don't want characters to die. I like having a bigger party at my disposal, even if they are slightly weaker. It's just my preference. So this sucks that he. The thing that's really going to suck, I can manage without 1 health. 1 speed is going to make him much more difficult to use effectively, but I just don't want him to die permanently. The other thing about it is that if a character is reduced to 0 hit points in 2 battles, like, so this is the first time this has happened, so I give Callan this permanent debuff, but he's still okay. If it happens again, if there's another battle where he's reduced to 0 hit points, I don't have a choice. He's just dead, and he is gone from my party forever. So we're gonna choose this. I like that there's narrative stakes here. I like that already we feel so attached to Callan, we don't want to let him go. His sister's in the party. He has a relationship with Gwyn. We can't let him die. Gwyn's voice is all he needs to hear. Callan must live to share the long, simple nights, the late and easy mornings with the woman he loves. And if their places were reversed, he'd expect Gwyn to do the same. It does remove him from the rest of this current battle. Now, I don't know how much longer this battle is going to go on because I already killed a bunch of enemies. But we will see. In fact, I don't even really need to fight these guys. They'll both die from poison next turn. Well, I guess I didn't open the door to that building. This might be it, though. Yep, that's it. So we survived, but we did have a casualty. Upgraded armor. Oh, you know what? So I found tier 1 warrior armor, but it's what Gwyn is already wearing. It's exactly what she's already wearing, so the only thing I can do is salvage it. Blood washes blood. Or do we not still quote Dragon Law? All I wanted was to come home and see everything was normal. Have to hope it's not as bad as it looks. As the fighting ends, the final threads of Thrixel madness fly to the winds. There are survivors, look! Now people begin to filter from their cold homes in confusion. Poor old Holly Milkins lying out here. Her knife's got that inky blood on it. Couldn't fool her, could they? They'll gather the living and bury the bodies, the majority well into the process of decay. By night, most have had a chance to remember themselves and try to piece together what happened. An impromptu council is held in the home of the schoolmistress. Under their spell, it all made sense. Wish that reasoning was clear to me now. At least the bits and images we remember feel solid. All us old folks, they let live. Left us in charge, maybe to fool passers through. And the young ones they took. But what they do with them? I doubt any god who knows. Callie, Dolan, Abdium, and Sperlin, Arthin, Aluna, and Numina? And all the rest, yes, led away like cattle. The Thrixel took them, so they didn't kill them? What do they want? Why Dove Dream, and why was it just the kids? The whole of one puzzle is just the first piece in the next. Hate thinking what might have happened. It's on us still, isn't it? To save them. They resolved to search for the missing ones, the young. There will be no peace, no joy, no relief. A season of terrible hoping will follow. And that is the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 1 complete. Finished all the infested tiles, all the lurking threats. All the tiles are safe, and I have received 8 legacy points, or this is how many I had. And I received this loot for crafting materials. So now what happens is we get to kind of see, and I love this because it's kind of, as we take this pause, we get little glimpses of each of our characters and what they're doing during a time of relative peace. So let's see what they got up to. Completing a chapter removes a card from the Calamities deck. That's good. As winter gives way to spring, the very night of the battle, Gwyn set flame to the twisted body of her one-time mentor in a fallow field. Don't worry, Javoni. I was never so wish-blind as to think you were truly alive. In a sense, I'm glad I found you. I'm glad it ended here. She wouldn't stop working to clean up the town. She'd scour hardest for signs of the lost. Griffin sought the help of her people, the hill painters, to look for the missing ones of Dovedream. Ark Morchester was the most skilled tracker they knew. Ark could only speak to what he hadn't seen, mark of any passage. Remember, though, Thrixel are unlike any other quarry. The province of all sense and sign may be in their governance. We'll stay watchful. The weather that season was bright and perfect, but it only saddened those left to see it. Callan and Elenia made a rapid study of anything they could find, anything that might relate to the Thrixel or their aims. Hey, little wolf. Hey, Elenia. What is it, Cricket? The power we've discovered feels so sudden and dangerous. We'll be able to stay on the right path, won't we? I worry about myself and you. Talking about our mystical whatever? I hear you. For me, it's... In books you read about powerful people failing to overcome their selfish impulses. The old Waynes, for instance. I expect we'll need to fight that battle if we're going to be effective against whatever else comes. Thrixel, all the rest. Disagree? Oh, no. My mind wandered. I'm just worried. Days are passing and I'm not finding anything useful. Yeah, me neither. Alright. I could, if I wanted to, let Griffin's crystal infection proceed on its transformation course. But what that would do would be to transform their other arm into a crystal sword. That would mean they can't use a crossbow, and I like for them to have a crossbow. So it's actually up to the player's choice whether the transformation progresses or not, advances or not. And I'm going to say no. Normally, my usual rule is just always say yes to the transformations because I think they're cool. They make the character look different. They give you different options that you might not have otherwise. But in Griffin's case, I have used them in so many different combats now. I want the option to have that crossbow. This screen now is to craft gear. Um, so you can see that every character can have armor, 2 weapons, and 1 offhand item if they're not using things like, for example, both of Callan's current items are 2-handed, so it wouldn't help to give him anything in his offhand because he would never be able to use it. I tend to focus on upgrading armor first, just to improve survivability. So you can see there's 2 tiers and 2 different types, and they are specific to each class. So this was the tier 0 Mystic Armor. This is what I have the materials to craft, which is why it's lit up. I don't have the materials to craft this, but I could still make it. It would cost 2 spell threads and 3 fabrics. I only have 2 fabrics, but I do have 8 legacy points. You can use 1 legacy point to substitute for any 1 count of crafting material that you're lacking. So I could craft this item, this kind of armor, for 1 legacy point. The difference between these two, almost every armor, every class's armor has either like a slightly faster but not as protective, or a like more offensive but not as or better armor or whatever. I don't know. I didn't say that right. It's a trade-off between like better armor but less speed, or better speed but less armor. So you can see this kind of mystic armor is 1.5 here, but doesn't give as much of a spell damage boost, whereas this gives a higher spell damage boost but less armor. Actually, the person I want to give this to first is Callan. I need him to have the better armor one because he's going to be in melee range more often. So I definitely want to craft this for him. So they call it Dusty Drab. It's a pretty standard set of heavy-duty clothing. It is functional and sturdy, including a short coat of thick woven fabrics over a padded shirt and thick woven breeches. I love that you do have the item to rename, or the option to rename any item in the game when you craft it. I almost never do it, but I think it's fun that it exists. So there we go. So he's a bit more survivable, but I spent some resources. Griffin already has tier 1 armor. Gwyn already has tier 1 armor. I would love for Alenia, sorry, I forgot her name, to also have this better armor, but it would take more points than I want to spend. But it's really important to do this because the end of the chapter is the only time you have to make these upgrades, and so it's really critical to do it. But this would cost 3 legacy points, and the reason that I don't want to spend all my legacy points is that early next chapter I will be able to recruit more party members, and the stronger, like, I will have the option to recruit legacy party members, ones that I've used in past campaigns, but that costs legacy points to do. So I don't want to spend them all on gear right now. And so that's, I think I might just have to let her go. and hope that I find better armor just as loot drops. That's a tough decision to make. I do like to give every character as much as possible a ranged option. For some, that doesn't matter as much as for others. Like for Gwyn here, she has that extra long range, so she doesn't need a ranged weapon. I want her to get up in melee range, and she has mega reach with this spear. She's great. I don't need to worry about it. But for someone like Alenia, I would love to give her a bow of some kind, either a crossbow or a longbow. And I do have Heartwoods. It would take a legacy point to do that. This is just a basic bow. This is a water infused bow, and this would be a leaf infused bow. The reason I have the options to do these is because I've infused them with that element in past campaigns. Let's look at crossbow. Even just a basic crossbow would cost 3 legacy points, so I really probably want to do this and just spend the 1 legacy point, and then at least they will have the option of shooting a bow. They don't necessarily need it, 'cause, now that I think about it though, it might be better to give them a staff because they do have ranged damage options through their interfusions, through her interfusions. So maybe I'd just do a staff, but that's just a basic staff. It's gonna cost too much to craft it. I'm gonna do the bow. It is what it is. It only costs a point. Ashen Howl of Musty Witch. Fantastic generated. No. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't really have anything else to use anyway. It increases exponentially. The end of the first chapter, you just haven't fought enough or rescued enough towns or discovered enough tiles to generate crafting items. Anyway, let's proceed. Exhausting other avenues, hope of finding the young folk has fallen to scattered query and ill-inspired quest. It's like trying to hunt your favorite cloud from a day last spring. Gwyn leads Griffin to Eldstone, where at least Thrixel had once definitely been. When you say things like that, it makes me think we're bound to find something. So you believe in the likelihood of the unlikely. They give much of a day to climbing and slipping among cure and rubble. The lines and leanings of these ruins make it easy to lose focus and wander. From time to time, they're forced to call out in order to find each other. See that silvery stuff on the ground? Molten, maybe. Yeah, that's all I've really found. So I'd say the Thrixel haven't been here in some time. Maybe my life's consigned to futile searches. Or maybe you have only to open your beak, little bird, and whistle for a favor. Scouring for lost chicks, I take it? I don't believe it. It's the Mothman. Take a good long look. I am well worth seeing. I'm beginning to take to you, I admit. This hat, I find, is quite irresistible. But, as the badger often says before breakfast, shall we get to eggs? Or did we wake only to bark and mud muddle? You have something to share? Have I not made that clear? Oh, but you do so provoke me to prattle. I am in a bit of a rush myself. Dauntless and wanderlorn by my very nature, the idea was a weather-sown seed. I felt called to take myself into the temperate east, and that is how I happened upon these chicks of yours. I saw them there, huddled and afraid, and dwindling in number. It is not a good place where they are. You saw them? And you didn't help them? You seem to assume I can walk into any den of Thrixel and simply rifle through the cupboards. I am flattered, but Must humbly admit my talents have eventual limits. Remember your own limits too, precocious birds. Your enemy is well beyond you. A fire might grow forever, swallow everything, if no one's willing to carry water into the flames. Fire metaphors? I have tarried much too long. By Dayflank Spring, east, in the wood marsh, an ancient glimmer scene lies in a hidden hollow. Glimmer what? Glimmer scene. I shall explain more in a moment, but first, here, you must look for trees with my mark on them. I leave it now upon this stone. The Mothman's glyph gleams to a certain tilt of the light. And then he went his own way. If there weren't lives in the balance, I'd say we should be tracking that Mothman instead. I know the old font in the wood marsh. It's a long journey, but it's makeable. Just glimmer what? The passage of time will cost lives, but clearing Thrixl sites will disrupt the enemy's webs and help more folks survive. They leave as soon as they can. Every idle moment is haunted by loss. The shadows deepen. All monster groups draw an extra monster card in every battle. And there we go. So that starts Chapter 2. We have a few different objectives. We have to assault Dayflank Spring. 37 townsfolk will survive, but it looks like if we clear Thrixl sites, that will increase. And the Thrixl are stalled for 22 days. Only 22 days, that's not very long. Real quick, you can see these two spots have recruit opportunities. These are places where we can add new party members, and I will definitely want to do that. But I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I don't think anyone watched this except my wife, but if you happen across the VOD, and I might upload it to YouTube, thank you for watching. I want to keep playing this, and I really enjoy streaming it and kind of reading the lines. I'm far from the world's greatest voice actor, but it is something that I kind of enjoy doing. So I think I'm going to keep trying to do it. Until then, I will see you later.